Oh man, it's been a long time since the last official upload. I think the last official upload was probably back before I started to re-upload a bunch of my old vids, and I think that was the Outlast Charles one. But for my last Muso game upload, it's been almost a year since then. And in that year, I have tried to switch fully back to Twitch, but that hasn't really gone too well, mostly because of a lot of personal stuff happening in my life and my new job right now, which takes up a lot of my time. But as I stated, I think about a month or so ago, when I, as of the recording of this voiceover, in the community post, that I was gonna be starting a project. And the project, as you may have read from the title, is part one of this project. And that project that I've been working on for the last month and a half is a Dynasty Warriors 5 4th weapon difficulty tier list. There's got to be some shorter way to do that. So this idea isn't mine. I didn't think of it. I literally did not even once think about doing something like this. I thought about doing it once I completed everyone on Chaos, but I never thought about a difficulty tier list for the actual 4th weapons, because I don't even think about 4th weapons once I, 100% of the game. This isn't my idea. This is actually another user's on the Dynasty Warriors Discord, not subreddit, known as JustNoca, and they asked, or they suggested that it'd be a nice idea for me to do a tier list of the difficulty for each 4th weapon in Dynasty Warriors 5, and I was like, that is actually a really good idea. So since August 29th or something like that, I've been compiling a bunch of clips of me getting these 5th weapon or 4th weapons for this video. And it's taken a long time. It's taken so long, in fact, that originally I was going to do this in one video. But that's going to be a really long video. I don't have time to edit a long video right now because of my current job. So instead of doing one long ass video, I'm just going to split this up into 3 separate videos, starting from the first bit of characters I've recorded, and the next last bit, and then once I'm done recording the last bit of characters, which I'll probably do by the upload of the second part, I can go ahead and start working on the third part. So in this first part, we'll be going through the first set of characters. I did this in alphabetical order, so I started with Cao Cao and it's going to end with Liu Bei. So let's see how this goes, and let's see how difficult some of these 4th weapons really are, because there's one that I was absolutely dreading. So before we even go on with this 4th weapon, I'd like to thank the sponsor that I've had for the last 2.5 years, and that sponsor is Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy is a gaming energy drink, and one of the best ones out there that is not even very well known, which I honestly think is crazy. So it's not going to be your G-Subs, it's not going to be your G-Fuel, but in my opinion they taste better than both, and I've had all of them before. With 0 sugar, 0 fillers, and only 5 calories in these drinks, you'll be fueled with enough energy to get through your day. I've drunk a few of these for work in order to get through the day, and I've also offered these to my coworkers, and my coworkers enjoy these as well, and they're willing to support me, which I hope all of y'all would too, because right now if you use my discount code at checkout, NOCA, you'll get 10% off your purchase. And if you're a little iffy on trying out some of these caffeine infused energy drinks, you don't even have to fret about buying a shaker and one of the tubs, because Rogue has a starter kit for only $17.99. You can get a shaker of your choice and 5 flavors from their brand. And if you really want to try their flavors, they have a try for free option where you get to choose 3 more packets to add to that order. So head on over to Rogue Energy use code NOCA to get 10% off a discount, and try and support your homie here, alright? Alright, let's go ahead and get on with the video. So I began the list from Cao Cao. Since I was doing this in alphabetical order, Cao Cao was the first one to go on this list. And his is a very, very easy 4th weapon to get. His battle is a 1-star, it's Battle of Shao Pi. All you have to do is defeat Gao Shun before he reinforces the dam. That's all you have to do. Yeah, you have to complete the battle, and you have to fight Lu Bu, but remember, this is a 1-star battle, and this isn't even a difficult battle. Honestly, you can just cheese Lu Bu and shoot arrows at him before you even fight him, and then he'll probably end up retreating beforehand anyway. This is one of the easiest weapons to obtain in the game. So this is gonna go in the piss easy tier. Now we go on to the son of P, Cao Pi. Cao Pi's 4th is... It's not the actual objective that's difficult, it's the stage. So for Cao Pi's 4th weapon, you'll have to fight on Wuzhang Plains, which is a 5-star battle and notoriously one of the hardest to fight on for both sides of the battle. And the actual objective is to just destroy all the arbalists that appear in that little middle area of the map. And that's pretty much it. The only downside is the actual battle. Now, you can get this in free mode where the battle will be scaled down in difficulty to meet it, since it'll be the 4th battle. But it's not that much of a difference. It'll become merely a 4-star rather than a 5-star, and if that 1-star difficulty really is what you need to complete it, then by all means do it. But to save yourself the time of doing 3 battles beforehand, just go ahead and do it on free mode, complete it. Cao Pi is an awful character, to be honest, and you're gonna struggle, but just upon completion is gonna be a much better feeling. So how I went through this was just racking up KOs, defeating officers, allowing them to start retreating and bringing Zhuge Liang's passing a lot faster. And once you do that, you'll be, increasing your allies' morale. And the only way to actually be able to have this be successful is to ensure that Zhang Hui sets up the catapults. So, ensure he does that, and everything should go smoothly. You should have your morale boosted. While you're at it, going around killing, taking out folks, go ahead and take care of the supply route, the defense captain over there on the east side of the map, next to, or in between the 2 bases on the right side of the map, because that'll cut off the wood oxen and it'll prevent them from getting continuous morale boost. And also, if you still see the wood oxen and need health, break them open. They'll more than likely have a meat bun in there, which isn't a lot, but on hard, any type of health is useful. But me personally, it's not an insanely difficult objective. It's only the battle that makes this a little difficult. So I think we're gonna go ahead and put this in, okay, you're gonna struggle category. Alright, next we got the Ren of Cao, Cao Ren. So, Cao Ren's isn't... I'm gonna say this a lot. A lot of these weren't exactly difficult. It's more of either the time frame, the patience, and knowing when to complete the objective affected whether or not I was able to complete it in one shot. Because about all of these I completed in one go. And the only one I didn't complete in one go was Zhonghe, and that was because I did it too fast. But Cao Ren's was to defeat all enemy reinforcements and ambush units quickly. And quickly as in before Cao Cao's reinforcements that arrive a little bit after tells him to go on ahead. You have to do it within that time frame, and that's about a minute or so in between them showing up and then his reinforcements arriving and saying that stuff. Which is easily doable with Cao Ren, but here's the problem. This battle, if I remember correctly, is a 4-star battle, so it's gonna be a bit difficult. You'll have to abuse Cao Ren's auto brace for this one. You're gonna have to, you know, spam his C3 and abuse his auto brace, but don't abuse it too much, because of course you're not gonna be able to get stunned. You're not gonna be able to get away once you're out of stun lock, and that's pretty much it. It's usually after you defeat Sun Quan, so you literally have to beat every single one except Liu Bei when he arrives at the end. You have to defeat everyone that shows up, even the one that appears behind y'all when you spawn into the battle, and then go on, follow Cao Cao, defeat all the reinforcements, and then once Sun Quan arrives, book it down to the bottom of the map, defeat him, and the item will appear in that little fork area thing where Zhao Yun and Zhang Fei show up, and you'll have your 4th weapon. That's about how I did it, just kind of rushing towards the enemy officers and not even worrying about the peons or sub-generals. Just worry about the officers, go on ahead. If you remember where they spawn, kind of camp that area around them and just jump on them as soon as they spawn in, because they'll have that little moment of just pause before they go into battle mode. So that's pretty much how I did it. I know I didn't do a kind of a guide with Cao Cao, because the thing with Cao Cao is it's pretty much straightforward. People usually gun for Gao Shun before he even decides to reinforce it, or some people will clear that middle area around where Xiahou Yuan is. That's what I did, but you know, you don't have to do that. But for Cao Ren, rushing the officers and forgetting about everything else is pretty much the way to go. But for difficulty, I would say this is actually a pretty normal 4th weapon achievement. It's not difficult. The only thing that makes it kind of, you know, kind of there is the time frame you're gonna have in the battle. But I feel like you're waiting more than fighting, because if you're defeating them too fast, it's kind of hard to say which tier I want to put this in, if I want to put it in kind of normal or waiting more than fighting. But I think this is a pretty normal 4th weapon, so I think I'll gladly put this in kind of normal. So next is Da Qiao. I've done this 4th weapon already, so I didn't really get footage. I'm using the old footage I used back when I first started this channel, back when it was still called JustNoca. And this one you can easily cheese, but it's not a difficult one either. Now again, you're gonna have to fight Gan Ning if you're not fast enough in hyper mode, and he will go into Musa Rage. But if you, like demonstrated in my 4th weapon video, if you pile on the battle log and the dialogue as Gan Ning appears, you can defeat Gan Ning when he arrives before he can even go into hyper mode. And since it's a 1-star battle, he'll die from a max Da Qiao with my weapons. He would die in 2 hits. So that's literally the best way to cheese him. But if you do have to fight him, of course I have my chaos mode or chaos difficulty item build, which is, you know, abusing ice and true Muso to get full damage output. And it's just fighting smart whenever you're fighting someone in hyper mode, because Gan Ning will absolutely abuse you if you give him the chance to, and if you don't stop him from using his Muso in time, because that will just one-shot you regardless of how much defense you have. So cheese him if you can. If not, be cautious when fighting him when he goes into hyper mode, because he will use Muso Rage. Try and use your allies to your advantage. Maybe have them take aggro off of you and kind of get pot shots at him. But this is not a hard one. This is honestly one of the easier ones as well. But solely for the fact that he goes into hyper mode, I will not be putting her fourth in Piss Easy. This one will be going in still kinda easy. The next one on our list is Dion Wayne, and his, again, is another easy one. So his is on the Battle of One Castle, and your objective is to defeat a handful of task force leaders, you know, the ones that try and run past you to get the Cao Cao. It doesn't specify how many. I would usually say probably 4 to 6 task force leaders need to be defeated in order to have the fourth weapon pop up, and it appears literally right in front of you from where you're defending the escape point at. And there's not much to it, it's just waiting for them to get there, because if you defeat them too fast, you're just going to be standing there doing nothing. Having a bodyguard helps too, because that keeps the other enemies at bay, and that lets you focus solely the task leaders. And at some point the task leaders stop showing up, and that's usually when Zhang Shu appears. And once he appears, you can ignore everything else and go attack him. But this is a fairly easy one. I would say this is pretty much Piss Easy, so yeah, this is definitely going in the Piss Easy category. And now, next we have the beauty queen of Dynasty Warriors 5, we have Diao Chan up at the plate. Diao Chan's fourth is on Xia Pi, and Xia Pi on Lu Bu's side is a 3-star battle. Her objective is to defeat all enemy generals and sub-generals before Cao Cao arrives. And to my knowledge, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, there are 2 sub-generals. One, actually I think they're both under Xiahou Dun. But with that, even with Diao Chan's kind of subpar moveset, this isn't insanely difficult. It's definitely not easy, especially if you don't have a maxed out Diao Chan. It'll take, I would say 1 attempt, 1 or 2 attempts. If you're a little bit slow on defeating the enemies, maybe it'll take a few extra attempts to do it before Cao Cao arrives. But it shouldn't be insanely difficult to warrant, like, maybe saying that it's one of the hardest, or, you know, that it's just downright ridiculous. So I think a good place for this is that this is a kinda normal, not very difficult, average difficulty fourth weapon. And now we have the erogenous pig of Dynasty Warriors, and that is Dong Zhuo. His is on the Battle of Xiliang, and that is versing the Ma family, Ma Tang, Ma Chao, and all them. It took a minute for me to figure out what exactly it meant by bases, because bases can either be a checkpoint or the actual bases. And the only reason I was trying to figure out why is because in the guide I was looking up, it was talking about their reinforcement points, and there are 4, and my brain can comprehend that it didn't meant the checkpoints, the checkpoint bases for the reinforcements, and meant the actual bases on the map. And there are 5 of them. You got 2 in the corner and you got 3 in the middle. Actually, it's actually 2 in the middle. Now I'm confused even more. Honestly, to avoid any real confusion, just take everything. All the checkpoints, all the bases, and then afterwards you have to defeat Ma Chao first, and then defeat Peng De. And here's the thing with those 2. They're both in hyper mode, but thankfully neither of them goes into Musou Rage. So this should be a fairly easy one. Not easy, I mean, it's gonna be a bit difficult fighting those 2. But with Dong Zhuo's actually kind of okay moveset and his Musou attack being kind of good too, this isn't insanely difficult, but for the sole fact that fighting those two both back to back in hyper mode, I want to say piss easy. This is probably just gonna be still kind of easy for me. Alright, gunning. Easiest. Okay, not the easiest. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. One of the easiest fourth weapons in this game. All you have to do is defeat Ling Tong and Ling Tao. And here's the thing to make this not piss easy. If you want to make it not piss easy, defeat Ling Tao first, and then you'll have to fight Ling Tong in hyper mode, and he will go into Muso Rage. But to make it easy, defeat Ling Tong first, and then handle Ling Tao. And there you go. It's a 1-star battle. You're using Gan Ning. Honestly, even handling Ling Tong in hyper mode isn't difficult. This is literally one of the easiest fourth weapons, honestly, and probably in the entire existence of fourth weapons, or ultimate weapons in this case. So yeah, this is definitely going in piss easy. And next we have the son of Guan Yu, Guan Ping. Actually, he's the fake son, so let's just gloss over that. For his battle, you're going from the escape from Chur-B, and in this objective you have to defeat all generals that appear later. This excludes sub-generals though, so you can, again, like Cao Ren's, focus on just the generals. And, you know, that's pretty much it. This is a 2-star battle, if I remember correctly. And with Guan Ping being a relatively great character to use in Dynasty Warriors 5, this is one of those easier missions to complete. I don't want to say piss easy, because, I mean, you have to defeat every officer that shows up, and one of the officers that do show up is where Sun Xuan shows up for Cao Ren. And the problem with that is that he'll charge into your allies' area, and at that point your allies will probably have max morale and kill that officer before you get to him. So from there, it's kind of like a race to book it down there before they defeat him, and then you'll have to race back up to the escape point to defeat the last general and cut off Cao Cao's escape route. So I would not say this is easy, but I would still say that it's still kind of easy. So the next character we have on this list is Guan Yu, and Guan Yu's stage is Fan Castle on the Shu side. If I remember correctly, this is a 4-star battle because it is about a majority of the character's final battle, namely being Guan Yu's. So for his objective, you have to defeat Mu Jin and Yue Jin before the water attack succeeds, which happens about roughly 4 minutes or so into the battle. So just mentally have that time in your head and just go straight towards them. They're both Cao Ren's sub-generals. They're not they're easy, they're generic, so it should be relatively easy. But again, you're using Guan Yu, which is someone I notoriously hate using in Dynasty Warriors 5. So, you know, the only other hard part of this is actually finishing the battle, and that is defeating Pong De to set up the bridge to get to Cao Ren. And Pong De does go into hyper mode, and he does go into Muso Rage. So the best way I thought of completing this is to defeat who you need to, and kind of force Pong De to stay where the water attack will happen, because once the water attack happens, which will happen the minute you leave that general area, whoever is in that area, bodyguard, allies, enemies that is still in that area, they will be immediately killed because of the water attack. And if Pong De is still there and he dies, the bridge will immediately appear. And after the water attack happens is when you get the special item report. So this is you know, kind of normal type of thing, just defeating 2 officers, just completing the level that may be a little bit difficult. But I can't say this is easy or difficult. This is just kind of an average type 4th weapon. So, you know, kinda normal. Third time recording this because I had too much background noise. We are now moving on to Huang Gai, everyone's favorite 3rd enemy to everyone on the map. So for this one, he has the Yellow Turban Rebellion, which is honestly notoriously known as one of the easiest stages in the entirety of the series. And his objective is to defeat all generals and sub-generals outside of Zhang Jiao's little stronghold thing. And this is easy to a fault, and mostly because that your allies could accidentally take one of those kills from you. And another reason this isn't just absolutely easy is because of the placement of a lot of these sub-generals. Like Jingmeng Cheng's one of his sub-generals, or I think his only sub-general, is right outside of Zhang Jiao's fort. So you're gonna have to just kind of plan out before you jump in. You see where you're gonna hit first, and then who you're gonna hit last. Who do you think is still gonna be alive, and hold off your allies long enough for you to go down and defeat them. But this isn't a very difficult one. The only thing that made this not piss easy was solely the fact that your allies can actually end up making you fail your objective. So this is still it's still kind of easy. Now we're on to the man who says that there's still life in the end, Huang Zhang. And Huang Zhang's 4th weapon can only be obtained in the Battle of Mount Dingjun. You know, obviously. And for this battle, I think it is a 2-star for Shu, and your objectives are to first take the Central Mountain, which is fairly easy. There is only one really weak sub-general there. But the next part is you'll have to charge down the hill and defeat Xiahou Yuan in 3 minutes. This is the difficult part of this is that Xiahou Yuan is in hyper mode. He will go into rage, and Huang Zhang isn't exactly a great character to use for this one-on-one contest, especially because you have crossbows and other archers, and your allies could accidentally take your KO from you by getting some last-minute cheap shot on Xiahou Yuan. Because I think that took me twice to do this. Because I think the first time I took too long, and then the second time was when I was officially able to do it. So my suggestion is to focus solely on just probably fire arrows and the light orb, so you can still attack him when he's blocking. And once you go into Muso Rage, just back up, wait for it to go away, and then go back into it. Because one of the other things that makes him difficult to defeat in this battle is that instead of, you know, his stat boost being 2x attack, it's 2x defense, which just further elongates the battle to take him out. And once you defeat him, you still have to defeat Zheng He, who thankfully is just a normal officer. He's on hyper mode or anything. And once you defeat him, and once Cao Cao arrives, the special item should appear right on the hill that you charged down before you fight Xiahou Yuan. So I would say this is a pretty difficult one, especially if you're not on if you don't have a good setup on Huang Zhang, and you know you're just not fast enough, and with Xiahou Yuan's just tankiness, this can be a little bit difficult. So this is going to be our very first. Okay, we're getting there in terms of difficulty. And now we have the cause for Shu's downfall, Jiang Wei. For Jiang Wei, his battle is the Battle of Tian Shui. And his objective is that... Okay, there's a lot to his objective. So, initially, you have to actually start losing the battle on purpose. You have to let Anding and Non-An fall on purpose. At one point, it'll be so bad to the point where Ma Xun will actually try and retreat, but his dumbass doesn't know how to retreat and instead charges straight towards Zhuge Liang. As this happens, Gao Xiang will actually show up in the northeast of the map, This is where his objective is. Jiang Wei has to defeat him. That's it. Literally the easiest thing he can do. The actual objective is easy, but keeping Ma Zun alive until the end of the battle is what's the difficult part. Thankfully, since he's charging straight toward Zhuge Liang, if you keep Ma Zun within your eyesight as you're fighting Zhuge Liang, he will not actually, perish in battle. However, if you leave him, you're going to get the commander struggling battle log and maybe his eventual demise within like a minute or so. So, the best way is to, after you defeat Gao Xiang, grab your weapon, try and defeat as much as you can, but in the end, everyone's going to be charging towards Ma Zun as he's heading towards Zhuge Liang. So this is the perfect chance to try and rack up KOs near Ma Zun, try and boost his morale back up, and try and lower the enemy's morale at the same time in order to keep him alive long enough for you to finish the battle and you get Jiang Wei's 4th. Otherwise, you're waiting more than anything, because you're just waiting for Ma Zun to start retreating and for Gao Xiang to appear. So this isn't difficult. The only difficult part is keeping him alive. The actual objective is really easy. It's just waiting. So now, just like we got our first, okay, we're getting there. We now got our first, you're waiting more than fighting. Next, we have Ling Tong. Ling Tong, the newcomer to Dynasty Warriors 5, and honestly had one of the more broken movesets in this game. His objective is on the Battle of Hefei, and his objective is to defeat Zhang Liao every single time he reappears. Initially, this may seem daunting for a few, but you can cheese this battle. You can cheese this objective pretty easily. On his first encounter, try and stay around where Zhang Liao could appear, and he could appear from 2 different locations. He could appear in front of the first bridge, right in front of it, or he can appear a little bit in front of the second bridge. Even though that bridge doesn't break, he will sometimes appear over there. Just kind of stay within the general area, kind of wait for him to appear, and once he does appear, like Gan Ning, you can defeat him before he goes into hyper mode. Now this is the only part where he'll be extremely easy to defeat. The other 3 times you fight him, he'll be in hyper mode and he'll activate a ×2 attack stat boost. So just kind of abuse Ling Tong's C4, kind of get him frozen, hit him with the Muso. Ling Tong, you can easily defeat Zhang Liao without any issues. So this isn't necessarily an outright difficult battle. It is a 3-star, but it is not outrageously difficult. But then again, it's not extremely easy, because then you're still gonna have to fight Zhang Liao 3 other times and honestly 4 times in hyper mode if you aren't able to cheese him the first time. So I think a good place for this is that this is a pretty normal 4th weapon achieve. So next we have the poster boy of benevolence, Liu Bei. And Liu Bei's 4th weapon can be attained on the Battle of Yiling, another 3-star battle. So his objective has you defeat Zhu Ran, Ling Tong, Gan Ning, Lu Xun, and Sun Jing in that order. You have to defeat them in this order, otherwise you will not be able to get the 4th weapon. So how I took this battle was to kind of clear out both the left and right side and kind of just wait at that drawbridge. And as soon as that drawbridge comes down, charge for Zhu Ran, and then as soon as you defeat him, Ling Tong and Gan Ning will be out of hyper mode, giving you an easy time to deal with them. And then once you handle them, take a right, skip Sun Jing because she'll be right outside of that bridge, and go towards Lu Xun. Defeat Lu Xun, and then take a back step back towards Sun Jing, who will then start to retreat after a little cutscene happens. And once you defeat her, you'll be getting the 4th weapon. This isn't a hard battle. The only difficult part of this is if you're being hampered by Ling Tong and Gan while you're trying to defeat Zhuran. But Liu Bei is a good character. Honestly, the whole time you're just kind of just waiting for the drawbridge to go down. So honestly, this is another, you're waiting more than fighting. Because once like the drawbridge is down and defeat Zhuran, your whole allies will do everything for you, and all you have to do is defeat the officers I listed off in that order. So you're waiting more than fighting in this objective. And next we have the most overpowered character in the entirety of the series, the mighty Lu Bu. And his objective can only be done on the Battle of Changshan. And his is the simplest of all of them. I was going to say all of them, but then I forgot that the edit officers also have this same exact objective, just it can be done on any map. But his objective is to simply defeat 1,000 enemies. And then honestly, if you don't defeat 1,000 enemies while you're playing Dynasty Warriors, are you actually playing Dynasty Warriors? So yeah, you know, the best way to do this, stand outside of a checkpoint, preferably the one right beside Guangsun, and you know, that's it. Just rack up 1,000, and the item, if I remember correctly, should be out in the the area outside of where Gongsun is, and there you go. Just, you know, got 1,000 kills. Easy, simple as that. So, oh yeah, I was about to continue on, but yeah, this is piss easy. And there we are at the end of part 1. I honestly do not know how long this part 1 is. I kind of only just recorded the voiceovers before even editing anything, so I have no idea how long this first part is going to be. But once I get done with this first part and it's scheduled, I'll start working on part 2. Hopefully that can be done within the next few days or so. I am working a lot this week, you know, as of the recording of this voiceover. So hopefully I can get the rest of the footage for the last bit of characters done. I literally only have like 6 or 7 characters left to record. I've already recorded Zhang Jiao, which all of you may know that there's one obvious spot on the tier list right now that I honestly don't even think I'll show, but you pretty much know where he's gonna go in this. But I'm kind of surprised, like, at this idea of me doing it and actually probably being close to finishing it. Because I think the last biggest project I had was, I don't think I've even had a big project. I think my last big project was 100%ing this game back like almost 3 years ago. So yeah, I'm gonna get on the part 2, which will be the next set of characters. I'm not sure how many set of characters it'll be, but part 3 will basically be the closing of this whole series, and then we'll kind of do a review, and just, you know, next video, probably discussions on probably some next projects and stuff. But that's pretty much it for this video. We went through the first set of characters. A lot of them are actually pretty normal and easy, but the full handful of, well, small few being, you know, kind of, you know, getting there in terms of difficulty. But I honestly thought this was a fun experience. It's honestly gotten me back into Dynasty Warriors 5, because after doing my whole Dynasty Warriors 5 Chaos, kind of, you know, completing everyone on Chaos thing and being burnt out of it for the last like year and a half, it honestly feels good to go back to the game and not even focus on that and focus something that's more informative. And honestly, once I get done with completing everyone on Chaos, it'll be another informative project that I want to do. Another tier list, per se, on who exactly was the easiest and who was the best for completion on Chaos. But I don't think I have anything else to say. I have a Discord server. Where honestly it's pretty dead, but usually when some new, more active people join, it has a spark of activity for a little bit, and I kind of want to keep that up. Any for me any goals before the end of the year. I guess 200 subs here on YouTube and maybe 50 on Twitch. But otherwise, I honestly don't see myself doing either. So I don't really have any other type of goal for this year. Yeah. But hey, you know what? That's part of it. You just don't know where you're gonna go next. Well, that's it for now, though. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new. If you're coming onto this video without being sub to me, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I don't do just Muso content. That much is pretty obvious. I also do funny moments type of stuff. I do. I will try and start doing Let's Plays again. Probably not on this channel, though. But, you know what? Subscribe so you can know, about those updates. Follow me on Twitter. I do occasional updates over on Twitter. I have a TikTok. I have a few TikToks up right now. As you can see some of the shorts I have on this YouTube channel. And follow me on Twitch as well. I'm at, I think, 28 followers right now on Twitch. 27. I'm at 27 followers on Twitch. And, maybe I can hit 30 before the end of the year. But I think that's it for now. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram. I post those same shorts on Instagram as well. And that's pretty much it, though. Thank you guys for watching. I'll try and get out part 2 and 3 out eventually. Hopefully in the next month or so, because I am moving still. And yeah, peace out.